Recording in progress.
Okay, we're live now. So we can start with instructions on how people can join the meeting.
Good morning. During this Historic Resources Board meeting, members of the public may provide live public comment by submitting a speaker card prior to the start of public comment on that item. Speakers may address items that are not on the agenda during the oral communications portion of the meeting. If a public comment speaker wishes to speak on more than one agenda item, please indicate so on the speaker card. Spoken comments via a computer will be accepted through the Zoom teleconference meeting. To address the board, go to zoom.us/join. Meeting ID is 968-0019-7512. When you wish to speak on an agenda item, click on Raise Hand. When called, please limit your remarks to the time limit allotted. Spoken public comments using a smartphone will also be accepted through the Zoom mobile application. To offer comments using a regular phone, call 1-669-900-6833 and enter meeting ID 968-0019-7512. When you wish to speak on an agenda item, hit *9 on your phone so we know that you wish to speak.
Okay, thank you, Amy. I'll conduct the roll call.
Nope. Wait.
Nope.
Nope. We're doing roll call. I'm in HRB. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Sorry. Chair Willis.
Present.
Vice Chair Peace.
Present.
Board Member Bauer. Absent. Board Member Eggleston Sislowich.
Present.
Board Member Hendrick.
Present.
Board Member McKinnon.
Present.
Board Member Weimer.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Guess I probably should have called the meeting to order at some point. Do we have any oral communications from the public about items that aren't on our agenda?
I haven't received any speaker cards, and we have one attendee, but their hand is not raised. So if you would
Okay.
like to share your comments with us, you have 3 minutes, but please raise your hand so that we know you wish to speak. No raised hands, Chair.
Okay, so we'll move to, do we have any agenda changes, additions, or deletions? Nothing, and we'll move on to schedule of meetings and assignments. So Amy, do you want to put the slide up or we don't?
Oh, yes, please, I will do so. I am getting out of this minute track report that is a key report so that I can switch to this activity. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I guess,
Sure.
okay. So I guess my question is, has everybody looked over the meeting schedule and is this fairly accurate as far as absences? As far as we know?
Should be in the council packet, right? Yeah, you can. Mhm.
Thank you. So any additions to this? Okay, we can move on to our study session.
Yes. Let me share my screen. One moment. Oh, I need to get into the link for the meeting. Sorry. Did you share that link with me? I'm so sorry for the confusion. Are you giving it to me through Teams? Excellent. I have my PowerPoint uploaded and ready and waiting for the link. It's always a little bit awkward. Here I am in person, but I can't function without a link to a Zoom meeting. It just is what it is. Dial-in number. Yeah. Oh, it's up there. Okay. All right.
And I'll quickly do that.
Clicked the wrong one. I think it listens. Yeah, you have to scroll down here. Join from your browser. Yeah, and then I'm here. That's me.
And let me make sure that.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh,
I don't know. Where are we? What page?
Page 12 of the packet,
Okay.
page 4.
all right.
Is that the only one?
I'm
Yeah.
here and ready. I'm going to share my screen. And we're good?
And
Sure.
then now we need to open the presentation.
Yes. Up here and this
And
here.
let's see.
And then I have to switch settings or
No,
something. like that.
it's perfectly great.
Okay.
We don't have.
All right. Yay. Success. I'm Amy French, Chief Planning Official, Historic Resources Board Liaison. So you already covered this, the upcoming HRB meeting dates. And so moving along. Oh, did you mention, sorry, I was distracted earlier, that we have secured the June 30th HRB? Okay. But we have. Yes, okay. We have secured the June 30th meeting date for an HRB meeting. So that would be our meeting in June. If you could all check your calendars, you being
I
the
can't-
HRB members.
I cannot
And
make that
see,
one.
not, okay. So we just need a quorum, and if we don't have a quorum, then we will not have that meeting. We'll follow up with an email. Why does this not? There we go. Excuse me. So today is a day where we talk about how we interact with the community regarding the Historic Preservation Program. And what kind of outreach do we have currently that I'm referring to are the ones at this URL at the top of the screen that's accessed through the Planning and Development Services Department / Historic Preservation. So that's how you get to this wealth of information, through our department. And you can see on the left-hand side on the screen, these are all the topics from project review, preservation highlights, preservation incentives, the historic registers, historic districts, historic surveys, history of Palo Alto, and properties eligible for listing on historic registers. So I have the image from the project review page. This is the content from the project review page. What is a historic project review? We use questions to prompt the viewer to know what we're about to talk about. So this talks about what types of projects require review. How do I know if my property is a historic resource? And want to learn more? We have some verbiage about, the benefits of conducting review to promote unique and shared environment, historic qualities, etc. So this is snips from that page about what types of projects require historic review. So we do provide quite a lot of verbiage, but it's not a simple topic. There are multiple registers: the city's inventory, the list of category 1 through 4 properties, the California Register of Historic Resources, and the National Register of Historic Places. So here's another question that's on our webpage. How do I know if my property is a historic resource? Some snips there. It shows, that you can go online and request a parcel report in 24/7, not needing to talk to a single soul, and find out for yourself what the listing is on your property. It's on the city's website. You click on Parcel Report and you go there and it will tell you what the status is. And then there are some want to learn more links there. So many of our customers are single family homeowners. And so, they're the ones that are the majority of the questions that are asked. And you can see there is information about, links to these different processes and procedures. Then you get to the next section down, which is about historic registers. There's some nice verbiage there about legacies at all levels and the inventory, a little history there about, 1979 and, who can propose designating a structure to the inventory or site or district. And it notes that this nomination process goes to the HRB and is decided by City Council.
So Amy, can I ask
Yeah.
a question on that last one?
Sure.
So they can tell from their sheet, their project, the
Parcel report.
parcel report, they're historic, they're on the
Yes.
inventory, they're category 1, 2, whatever.
Yes.
How can they see their historic documents, the information on the DPR sheets?
Those are, the parcel report is kind of an automatic thing that just shows, is it California Register eligible, category 1 through 4, or potentially eligible. Those are the categories that they can see, and that's it. They can't do it remotely 24/7 to get what we call the DPR forms.
So how would somebody find the DPR sheet just looking at I'm not saying access it, but do we tell them on our website how to access a DPR sheet, how to find a DPR sheet for their property?
We do not. We have phone numbers, we have emails, and
So you have to call.
we handhold every time with people when they call us and talk to us about it. We send them, and much of our day is, when it comes to historic program, is communicating back and forth with email and phone calls.
Is it mostly realtors?
There are a lot of realtors, but there are a lot of property owners as well, or interested buyers.
Okay.
I have a question about the parcel reports too. Is the Dames and More information included in those parcel
Yes.
reports?
It names some more information as to whether it was deemed eligible or whether it's still in this basically potentially eligible or otherwise known as unevaluated or not completed evaluation.
Okay.
But older than 1948. So I think I covered this one basically. Then the next, there's just a lot of information. I'm just going over this for the public mostly, but the HRB, of course, is always, we welcome you to peruse all of these pages and let us know how we can improve these. What's the criteria for designation? We have that. We have what are the 4 categories on the inventory. We have 4 categories. The top 2, category 1 and 2, are historic. They have regulations. They're regulated by Palo Alto Municipal Code, Chapter 1649. The categories 3 and 4 are less regulated when they're outside of Professorville or the downtown. So category 3 and 4 are considered contributing buildings. Sometimes they're contributing to a historic district, but they're often they have some kind of modifications to them that we've found. Then another question is, what are the benefits of historic review? These are listed. There may be more that aren't listed. Then it's what are the incentives? And this is quite a dense set, and I'll share some of those sub information. We have the municipal code Title 16, which is the building code. We have Title 18, which is the zoning code. So we have multiple incentives in those titles of the municipal code. We have the subdivision code, where we allow creation of a flag lot in an R1 zone, which is normally not allowed. But if you have historic, we do. And then there's these credits, tax credits from the federal and state. So as well, there's the comp plan policies that advocate incentives. So we have a number of comp plan policies that suggest that we work hard to make historic buildings, have incentives to retain them and give breaks and other things. Then we have south of Forest area, which is has its own coordinated area plan with its own zoning, basically. And there are benefits just like the downtown for transferable development rights and floor area bonuses when you go to rehab a historic building. The Title 16 incentives, this is the building code, has alternatives to meeting the building code. So we have the historic building code that can be used for a number of things. Then we have Title 18. We've seen these before through projects that have come through. People can ask for additional floor area by way of, for homes, by way of the home improvement exception process that non-historic homes, unlisted homes do not get this additional floor area. There's other items like attics that would normally count in a non-historic home. You get a break on those for category 1 and 2 buildings. You get a 500 square foot perk. So there's a number of them here. As well, we have the transferable development rights, bonus floor area, et cetera. And so then we get to this bulletin I referred to. It's back in October 2016, the HRB reviewed and finalized the bulletin at the time. That was before the comprehensive plan was updated in the end of 2017. And this was the verbiage. And we have a goal to get going on revising and reviewing changes to this bulletin in July. That's kind of when we targeted beginning this process, but I'm sharing it here. We have the Group A resources, and those are the ones that are category 1s and 2s, and 3s and 4s in the downtown, or Professorville, or the Ramona district, which is also downtown. And this is just kind of a snapshot of that bulletin. It says what to expect. And this is where we have this conversation about when the project scope exceeds what is considered minor exterior alteration, then the planner refers that application to the HRB. So we've had an earlier discussion about what constitutes a minor exterior alteration. So that is a conversation we can pick up again later. Then not all projects need review by the HRB. So I'm just going to float through these. These are all on the web pages. Then we have the Group B resources, which are the category 3-4s outside of downtown and Professorville, the National Register and California Register resources that are not on our inventory, and then what were deemed eligible for either the National or the California Register in the Dames and Moore survey update of 1997 to 2000, or more recently in our case-by-case reviews. Then there's the whole topic of when do we do historic resource evaluations. So we have this comprehensive plan policy that was adopted in December 2017, where when somebody comes in and says, I want a demo, and they're potentially eligible, date back to before 1948, we say, well, we need to do an evaluation to see if it's California Register eligible. We can't just issue you a demolition permit. So there's that. There's also sometimes owners want to sell their property and they want to know. And so they come in and we give them the opportunity to have us evaluate for a price. They compensate us for this effort. So we determine if it's California Register eligible. And then people want to know, well, what are minor changes? Can I make changes? And yes, you can make changes to historic homes and historic non-residential. They just need to be done in a way that meets the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation. And so we're trying to retain historic integrity of the resource. We have instances where people want to put a second floor onto a single story home, and we do allow that. We just have to carefully review those. So, but just to be clear, anything you do on the interior of a home in Palo Alto that's a historic home is fine. It's not something we have to have a discretionary review about. It's just a building permit. So, and that goes for accessory dwelling units as well. So that concludes the kind of show and tell about our webpage. And I just retained this slide that I thought I would present again. Just a reminder that May 21st is, I believe that's next weekend. And maybe we can get back to this. There's also this conference coming up in June. Folks may want to register for, we can help with that. And tomorrow is the deadline to submit the CLG report that we reviewed at the last meeting. So I'm putting the final touches on that today and getting that out by email, which is how they receive it at the Office of Historic Preservation. So if you suddenly remember you've done another training, let me know and I'll include that. Okay.
Thank you, Amy. Do we have questions? I do. Anybody else? Am I going to be able to see little raised hands? Medina, what do I?
You have to raise hand from Margaret.
Oh, thank you. Margaret?
Yeah, excuse me. I had a question and sorry, Amy, I think I need to get you to backtrack a little bit. I was just jotting down the different bullet points that you mentioned about incentives. I have tax credits from the federal and state, Title 16, Historic Building Code, Title 18. I just wanted to have like my own sort of short list and you were paging through those and I think I started jotting them down before I didn't want to miss any. And I wanted to ask, is the tax credits from federal and state, is that Mills Act? I mean, would that require a Mills Act contract or is that something different?
No, these are not Mills Act. The California tax credit was supposed to be funded, but I don't know that it was funded. That's a recent state legislation that enables income tax benefits for California Register, National Register homes, or I think also listed home, any list. There is the ability to write off something on your taxes for changes. So it's not a Mills Act, but it's something akin to a Mills Act without the contract. I don't know so much about it. Again, it's not yet funded. They were going to fund it and then COVID happened. So not sure where we are with that. The national one is also related to income tax, I think. So I'm not super versed on that, but it's available on their web pages.
Did I miss any? So the national tax credit, the federal, Title 16, Title 18, and then historic building code. I just wanted to, I mean, you were making a lot of great points. I just wanted to jot them down for my own.
Yeah, so this is listed on the incentives page. So on that page, there's yeah.
Okay, I'll go back and look that up.
So Amy, when the website was put together, was there any discussion about listing the incentives separately by category?
I guess that'd be another way to display. So you could take, if you're a category 1 home in Professorville, or if you're, or category, sorry, if you're a category 1 through 4 in Professorville or downtown, that could be, or yeah, that could be one way of displaying the information. And then you could have another that would be, you're a category 3 and 4 located outside those 2 places. And this is available to you. For instance, the home improvement exception bonus floor area for homes is available for categories 1 through 4. We made that change in 2019 or 2018, that we added the category 3 and 4 homes to the list of homes that could get that benefit. It used to just be category 1 and 2.
Yeah, I find it hard to wade through it. And I just think a reorg would go a long way. And I think there's actually more categories because we have commercial buildings and civic buildings and churches. And,
Yes, I think I'm just referring to the homes.
yeah,
just
and
about
that
this
might
way.
be where we start. If we just duplicate the information somewhere else in that form, in a format that's just by historical category. One of your slides mentioned that ADUs on a lot need to meet the Secretary of Interior standards. I was surprised to see that. Where did that come from? It said garages and ADUs.
So, accessory dwelling units are a ministerial process, the building permit only.
Yeah.
We do have the capability of reviewing those for compliance with Secretary of Interior standards when it's on a listed historic property. So we do a staff level review of those ADUs. Most of the ADUs that happen in this city have been conversions of existing garages, detached carriage houses and
Thank
things.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering how it would apply to a new building. So you're saying there were existing structures that,
Most of them, but we do also have a ministerial process for new ADUs on a historic site.
that includes review to meet the Secretary of the Interior standards?
Yes.
Okay. Good to know. I have sort of a framework of what I'd like us to think about over the next couple of months before, it's going to be a while before we get our consultants on board and before we really get moving. And I think the better we are versed with the parameters and the existing conditions, the better off it'll go. So my first is taking that evaluation table. And unfortunately, I am not really computer savvy, and I did it in Word, even though I knew I wanted to do it in Excel. But I think if we could take those and sort them by category 3s and 4s, category 1s and 2s, commercial, residential, it would go a long way towards helping us out. And, demolished would be a great category. Woo! So I'm kind of hoping as I go through these, the board will think about which one of these activities they would take on. And I'm kind of thinking, we could each take one, but because I happen to have 7. But if we want to do it in teams, that's great too. And if you guys want to just tell me I'm wrong, that's fine too. But let me go through my thoughts here. So the second is the letter to the homeowners, which I think we need to really do the best job we can before we send it to legal and planning to check its accuracy. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for different tones of that letter and different ways to convey to the owners information about their homes that we'd like to put on the inventory. So I think that's a big one. I kind of almost think each of us should take a crack at that just to see, which voice might work the best for us. Number 3, and I think this is in that bulletin, but I would like it to be sort of called out more clearly. So identify the differences in the process of getting a building permit for a house that's been identified as National Register eligible, so the 2000 list, and one that is already on our inventory, because I think that is going to be the primary question that people have. So my house has been identified. I have to go through this process now. What changes if I'm on the inventory? And I don't know, truthfully. I know some things change. Just a side note that I'm curious about is whether anything at all would change if you have a commercial or civic structure that's identified on the survey. Would being added to the inventory have any effect on your process?
Yes.
It would, does. Okay.
For instance, if you're a category 1 or 2 property in the downtown, you have access to bonus floor area from a historic rehabilitation. You have access to the ability to transfer that bonus floor area off to another downtown site that's not historic. In other words, money from somebody who wants to buy those to add to their building, non-historic building. So those are perks from by being on the inventory as a category 1 or 2 in the downtown.
And I think it would be great to identify those separately too, because I think it would make the conversation so much easier. So my number 4 is to continue to develop the list of questions and answers, a lot of which are on the internet. Amy showed me, not that I can find them again, but I know they're there. And I think that's also a really important tool for us too. Number 5 is revise the bulletin, which we will be doing in July. But I think that from my perspective, formatting and understandability are huge issues. So I think if one of us looked at that, that would be interesting or useful. 6 is evaluate the map of historic resources, mostly because I found it too small. Right now Palo Alto is divided into 3 sections. And I think if it was more sections, not necessarily all the same size, maybe we need a bigger one, where we have a lot of historic buildings, or a larger scale, that's what I mean, larger scale map, where we have more historic buildings. But I think that would be something to look at. And lastly, and this one keeps nagging at me because I think it's going to come up more and more as properties are added to the inventory. I think we need to figure out how to get our current inventory in better shape than it is now. We have DPR sheets for all the forms, but they are physical. I don't know if they're online at all, although I know I've asked this question before. Are they online?
They are online, just not on
They're
our
digital.
webpage.
They are digital.
They're digital, and
Okay.
they are cut with colors and all on the past webpage. They do a great job.
So we do, and we're
people
giving
there.
you an award, but I would actually like the whole DPR sheet. I think the official version should exist and be easy for people to find. And again, all 7 of these topics are not things that I totally understand the end game on, but I think they're all things that have given me pause over the course of the year, and I think they all could use some improvement. So if we wanted to, if anybody's interested in a particular 1 or 2 of these, that I think if we came back to our August meeting with some definitive information on these, we would be way ahead when we start moving forward with the inventory. I guess I meant July. Any thoughts? Okay. I'll speak once. It's not currently on an Excel spreadsheet. So what we currently have in this pile of paper somewhere. So what we've been working on is this version, which is in Word. But I think if we had another column that was commercial and another column that was category 1s and 2s, or potential, they're not going to be anything at this point, but potential 1s and 2s, civic buildings, commercial buildings. So if we just could, demolish buildings. I think if the evaluation table was sortable, it would be much more useful.
I can take that one on because when I went through and, rode my bike through the neighborhoods and did it, I actually started putting it on an Excel spreadsheet.
Thank you. So, perfect. Hooray. So who's our next volunteer?
Chair Willis, I also wanted to let you know I have, these maps that I had presented in a prior HRB meeting. If you want, I can show those, and if you want to have a discussion about or if the map committee is interested in speaking to that, like how
Maybe if you
Scope.
showed them, people would be more enthusiastic.
I'd be interested in working on mapping, actually, if we need that. Yeah.
I think it would be nice. I mean, in my sense is it would help us identify potential historic districts or clusters of houses that have been identified that we're more concerned with because they're more in their traditional environment. So I think there's some advantage to having this along with the map, the ones that are on our existing inventory. Maybe I'm just a graphic learner, but I think it would be helpful to do that.
Also, just kind of listening to this, one idea I had was when it comes to the incentives, helping people sort out what their property may be eligible for, maybe a flow chart would be helpful. Like, is this property commercial or residential? Is it in a historic district? Is it, and then help people kind of narrow down what incentives they may be eligible for in kind of a more visual way.
It's great. Yeah, we do have for the application processes in Palo Alto, we have flowcharts that show, what the process is. So maybe there's a way to capture that as related to this incentives, like you said. So does anyone want me to show these maps? I've got on the screen here the map that we have for category 3 and 4 outside of downtown and districts. Again, if I don't believe we have these shown on our webpage, these maps. So this would be an opportunity to say, yes, let's have these shown.
I actually think they are. There are 3 maps.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
More recently, maybe we put them on because of the, I mean, I know recently I put something on the HRB page that got folks to, maybe that it's on the HRB page, perhaps.
It's not quite the same format. So actually this seems much clearer to me for some reason, but
so those are the
but I don't know why.
The existing inventory properties. And then this was all of the above. We have 3 maps that have everything, right? So this
That's one on the webpage.
So this shows category 1 through 4, deemed eligible districts. And so.
Would those be available, the individual map files that we have here in high resolution to us? Could those be sent to us so we could look at them on big screens and zoom in and out of them?
Yeah, I am not the person that generated these. I would have to ask. This is Roland. I've mentioned him before.
Okay.
That helped. Yeah, I don't know what the capability.
Those maps are available on the website. I was just looking at them this morning. So
great.
I don't know the resolution, but you can view them in better, because I see that this isn't high resolution, but you can see them better.
Yeah, this was just me clipping from my screen to show you that we have these.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're on the webpage, you can do the stretch it.
I guess, I did zoom in, but I guess all the gray is just confusing to me. And I just, I feel, I like the map you showed first that just had the historic buildings, didn't have the tone, the gray background of the houses. So these I can read.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think there's so much information, it gets a little lost. And that's the one I was thinking we would work from and just, maybe take the first map, this section of it, and do it in several pieces. So it was more legible where it's denser. College Terrace could be a thing, and downtown Crescent Park could be a thing. There's ways to make this into, a couple of maps. So that if we're going to leave the background houses on, which I think are interesting, it would be more legible to me.
Well, I still think it would be extremely useful to get standalone files that are of high resolution or variable resolution. And I bet you this GPS system, the geo system can produce them rather than dividing them up. I mean, I think this is a lot on this image, and it would be really great to be able to zoom in and out of it.
Okay, well, I was zooming in, but it still didn't quite do it for me. But maybe it's not as high res as I think on the internet. So,
oh, okay. Oh, since we're still on this kind of only item other than our minutes approval, I think we have minutes today. We do have a member of the public with her hand raised that may want to speak to this item that we're on.
Dina, is that Chambers? No, that's here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I see one raised hand from the public, and it's her, the person's name is Darlene Yapley.
Do you want to tell her to go ahead? Sorry, I didn't quite get.
Hi, I'm Darlene Yapley. I live on Waverly, and I'm one of the residents that is not currently on the historical list, but possibly could be. So this is my first meeting. I would like to underscore the comments by Chair Willis. I think I would overall encourage an effort that makes this information understandable, accessible, and transparent, both for the letter to the homeowners and the website. I didn't see anything about the Mills Act, so why or why not we're participating? What would it take to participate? I think the comment about the incentive was kind of confusing. If it's listed as an incentive, but the funds haven't been approved, maybe that should be a TBD. I think the DPR sheet should be made available. I think the question that wasn't answered is, if you're not on the list and you're put on the list, who gets to decide if you're on the list? What are the options for deciding that you're on the list? That's pretty important to residents. And I think it's would be transparent to help share that. I would also encourage you to validate your letter and your information with people that are going to read this for the first time, not yourselves who are familiar with this content, because we are not, or staff. I mean, that's the audience, is people that are being introduced to these concepts for the first time. We don't understand all of the buzzwords and what it means to us. So I would encourage you to try to make an effort in that direction, because I think people are quite interested, and it'd be good to start out on the right foot with clear information and it coming across as unbiased and straightforward. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. We will give you our letter to review as soon as we review it ourselves. And thanks for the suggestions.
Chair, that concludes public comments for this item.
I didn't catch that.
Yep, we do not have any public speakers for this item.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, speaking to her comments too, I mean, I would hope there's a way we can, reassure homeowners that this will be an easy process for them. I think we need to make sure that it's easy, convenient, and, not, there's not a fee or cost associated with this. I know that's something we've talked about in the past, but, if we're looking at making this easy and transparent and, people wanting to participate, I think that's something we, in addition to what the speaker mentioned was, we should provide those sorts of efforts as well.
I agree. And I think that if we could start by, making the incentives a little easier to understand, and also the repercussions of being on the inventory rather than just being identified as historic. I think that would go a long ways towards, if we understand, I guess part of my thing with the letter is I think that if we understand the circumstances as best we can write the best letter. Is anybody willing to, I think the question and answer thing is just collecting data that's already there. I think for the most part, questions have been identified. I think there's a significant amount of this on the internet, but I think it all needs to come in one place. And then for me, I think a lot of what we need to do is reorganize our web situation. So even if we duplicate it, we need to make it clearer for people how to find their specific thing. They don't want to wade through all our commercial and this, that, and the other thing to get there. So I think the question and answer would be a pretty quick and dirty cut and paste, and figure out how to put it all in one section or reference it in one place on our website. If nobody's really interested in the bulletin, we'll be looking at it in July anyway, but part of me says that's a formatting issue that for some reason I find it hard to comprehend in its current form. I don't know why. Doesn't look like that much information. I don't know why I'm finding it so confusing. But I think that would be good if somebody would take that on. At least I have my people here that I can, reach out to that are volunteering, but I'd love it if you guys that are further away from me, safely further away from me, would step up and take on one or two of these items. And if not now, then there's always email, and I would appreciate it. So
Carol, I was, I had some comments, and I actually am working on, your letter that you sent as a draft. I've been, taking a look at that and trying to just add some more information to that. And I wonder, should I just send that directly to you to review for sort of a preliminary review, or how should I move forward with that if I'm working on that?
Yeah, I think that would be fine. That would be great. I think the question is, for me, how much information goes into the letter and how much is on a question and answer sheet that's attached to the letter?
So when I was looking at this, so the letter that you sort of preliminarily drafted, that letter was going to go to all the current people on the inventory who have categories 1 through 4, or was it the letter to the potentially
it's a letter to the potentially eligible people?
Yeah, because I think that is sort of where we should focus our outreach, just because that's a relatively new requirement. And I know that there's a lot of confusion, and I've had several of my own clients who've had to go their houses were potentially eligible, and so they wanted to develop it or sell it. And the cost of doing an environmental evaluation report through the city is $7,625. Just to let people know, it's not an inexpensive step to go through. I think that's kind of, but obviously it takes a qualified firm to do the review, and it's time consuming, and they write a full report. I don't know if, I just think we should all be aware of the cost of being on this potentially eligible list. And if someone wants to determine whether they are or whether they aren't, that's what it takes to determine that. So I know we talk about incentives. I don't know if there's any cheaper alternatives for applicants to achieve that information without going through that. And it also takes a bit of time, probably a month or 6 weeks to gather that information. But I do think that that is one thing that's probably a lot of people who are coming forward with questions are probably people who are on that list, and they want to better understand why they're on that list and how to move forward.
Thank you, Margaret. You point out you make a good point that the lists that we're working from are the ones that are already identified as National Register eligible. And there is a much larger list of potentially California Register eligible, as I think it's somewhere in the 500 range instead of the 150 range. So I think that you're right, we can't lose sight of that, but I don't believe that's going to be within the next year. I think we need to put our process in place. We need to add the ones that we've already identified to our inventory. We need to get our inventory in a better format. And then I think we'll have a fairly smooth, well, hopefully we'll have a fairly smooth process for adding to our inventory. But right now, I think that, there's already those California registered, potentially, unevaluated. But, that list is 20 years old, so we know there's more of those. So it's a big job. Get a lot of rest, guys. But I think that our first step is to stick with this smaller list that we have and get our inventory and get a process for updating our inventory. And hopefully we can roll these through council and continue with the houses that have been identified as deserving review or, assessment.
Can you, and I know sometimes I feel like I have to hear things 2 or 3 times before I finally comprehend it. So can we just talk just really quickly about these groups of houses? So we obviously have our group of houses that are on the inventory. They've been on the inventory, they're category 1 through 4. So that is one group. And then there's the group of the CRHR potentially eligible, which was the 1998 group. And then it sounds like you're talking about yet another group. I just want to be clear. What?
Sorry, I wasn't paying enough attention. So the group in the 2000 survey, they identified houses and properties. They identified properties that were National Register eligible. They also identified.
Is it 1998 or 2000? It's the 1998.
I'm unaware what the difference is between the 1998 and the 2000. I thought the process just took a couple of years.
If you look at all the parcel reports, it'll say historic status or district, and it'll say deemed potentially eligible for the CRHR in 1998. So that,
so it
doesn't matter.
Rounding. So 1998. So the ones that were deemed potentially eligible for the National Register are one list, and they were analyzed and the work has been done. On the ones that are potentially eligible for the California Register, a few of those, I believe, were reviewed and decided they weren't National Register eligible, so they put on this other list. But for the most part, the DPR sheets were not done for those structures. Does that answer your question?
I'm not sure, but so the DPR sheets are, I don't know, maybe Amy can answer this. And I apologize if I've asked like stupid questions, but so the DPR sheets are of, are the DPR sheets for, obviously they're for all the ones that are on the inventory in the different categories. Are there DPR sheets for, other properties that just are potentially eligible, or I guess?
There are, okay, so I'll answer that. The DPR forms that we have completed are for ones that were deemed eligible for the National Register in the last survey of 2000, as well as ones more recently deemed eligible for the California register, since the comp plan was adopted that says we should be doing these. So we have that collection. We also have a collection of DPR forms that reflect ineligible properties. Those were from the 1998 to 2000 survey, where Dames and Moore prepared these DPR forms for potentially eligible properties and got it to the point where they determined it was not eligible. So we have those as well. And then for the remainder of the properties, basically the priority 2 list from back in the day, those are case by case, the ones that we look at when a property owner gives us money to look at it and come up with a, evaluation. So those are case by case, one by one, slowly being added. And that's the report that I prepare with our CLG report every year, and transmit to the state to say, hey, we found, these 3 more properties to be eligible.
Okay.
We have a lot of properties to look at. Anything else before we close out on this item? I don't see any little hands. So let's move on to the approval of minutes. Does anybody have any corrections? Actually, I have one. So on page 4 of the minutes, or page 12 of the packet, Commissioner Heinrich is willing to step back and be a regular board member instead of commissioner. Okay. And there was, on page 11 of the packet, or page 3 of the minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph down.
Chair, is it okay if I quickly share my screen with minutes and I'll make a real-time change?
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That will be awesome. Okay, let me quickly correct the title of from commissioner to board member.
Thank you.
Okay, that was corrected and
you.
page
3.
L3. Okay. What change should I make?
1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph down, Chair Willis, second line after the dash is to get the resources. I don't think that 2 should be in there. To get to the resources from council, instead just to get the resources from council. Thank you. Anybody else have corrections to the minutes? And otherwise, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Margaret. And a second?
I second it.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Yeah, let me quickly conduct the vote.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Let me quickly conduct the vote. Board member Bauer absent, board member Eagleston Sislowich.
I abstain. I was absent.
Okay, board member Henrik. She will come back shortly. Board member McKinnon,
Yes.
board member Weimer,
Approve.
Chair Willis,
Approve.
and more, let's see. We have 3 right now. Did I call Christian P?
We lost Gogo.
Yeah. Yep. Vice Chair Pease, did I ask you for your vote? Sorry, apologize.
You're asking me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I
vote
did.
yes.
Okay, so right now I have 3 yeses, and Board Member Hendrick stepped for a little bit, stepped away.
So we have to take a pause.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So who are we waiting for? No, she's not coming back.
Yeah, no.
We're -2 here.
Okay, thank you so much. So I have yes from Chair Willis, yes from Vice Chair Pease, from Board Member Eagleston Sislovich, Board
No.
Member
No.
abstained. Then I have yes from Board Member McKinnon.
Yes.
Yep. And Member Weimer, right?
Yes.
Yep. So that's 5, right? I believe, or 4. Yep. Motion carries.
Yay. So Amy, do you want to, I'm going to skip subcommittee items. I think we covered those. Board member questions, comments, and announcements. Do you want to put that last slide you had up about Preservation Month up? And anybody else have announcements or comments? Okay, well, I just wanted to encourage you all to come to the Preservation Alliance event. The 24th, I think. Of course, that's why I need 23rd. 21st. Yeah. So I did reach out to Past and Carolyn George. Being on the board this year, I have so appreciated their website. I didn't realize what a great community service it was before, but man, have I appreciated it. So we, as the Historic Resources Board, are giving Carolyn and Past an award at the event. And she is delighted to be acknowledged. Oh, and Amy's dad's old band is playing, so you really want to be there.
That's right. The Stargazers. Not to be confused with the Stargazers.
No, Stargazers. It's
They were
perfect.
established as an older set of gentlemen playing music, and it's kind of bluegrassy type music.
It sounds fun. They're definitely working on it. I think we should encourage the Alliance to.
I've sung with them before, so there may be an opportunity for.
Oh, well, and if you show up, you might get to hear Amy sing. So that would be bonus points. And the conference we talked about, I know June's a tough month, but we're not having a meeting that week. So it would be great if as many of us as could would go to some of the events or some of the online, what do we call them, forums. Great. So I think we're good. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Thank you. And a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. And can I voice vote this? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Good job. Did we get 4? I have an aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks.
Thank you.